What's up, Slayers? Let's go. Happy Friday night, y'all. It's Groundhog Day. Wait, did this already happen? What? It's Friday, February 2nd, and we're back for an all-new Slay Station, right? Great to have everybody joining us tonight. I see some comments rolling in. Two very special guests tonight who I cannot wait to introduce in just a second, okay? But before we get to that, we hope everybody's healthy, okay, happy, and doing what they love. All right. So make sure you're taking care of yourselves. In the chats, we got, all right. Oh, we got one of our guests. We'll get to that. We got Burn in the house. That's right. Wait, 1 week ago, my kid stole my truck. I looked good for a trainer. Nice, man. Mark Chase, what's up? Gone fishing with Ed Munoz. What's going on? Georgia Slayer in the house, right? Hey, listen, tonight we're also going to announce our premium members, right? Our monthly raffle. It's upside down. Sorry. Berkeley Power Bait Coal Shad, 8-inch. This is going to be going to a lucky winner tonight. If you're a premium member, you are subscribed into our monthly bait giveaways. This will be the January one. I'm running a little late. All right. But hey, we got to thank some sponsors. We got SFO Tackle in the house, Black Hall Outfitters, Dark Horse Tackle. That's right. I'm wearing one of their new t-shirts. Check it out. Martin's Custom Baits. Go get yourself the new spinner bait, the Knee Knocker. X-Zone Lures. Heat your meat. Spice it up. Hey, Super Bowl Sunday's coming up. You want to impress your guest? Go check out heatyourmeat.net. Use code SLAYIN10. Save yourself some money. Get yourself some awesome spices and follow the recipes. Bangers, right? Stoneman & Son Lure Company, The Rod Glove, Hook Set Hoodlums, Harmony Fishing Company, the official hooks of Slay Nation, and Omnia Fishing. Now, enough of this trap, all right? And let's bring on our guest, okay? And I cannot wait for some of y'all to say, to meet our guests, because some of you guys, if you're living under a rock, get out from under the rock. All right. We got from the Bass After Dark podcast, one of the hottest podcasts on right now, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Ken Duke and Brian the Carpenter. What's up, gents?
You.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Frank, for having us.
Anytime. You're welcome. And I didn't realize we had one of the New Jersey Devils in the house here. Ryan the Stick, right? What does that mean? What is that? The Devils? What is that?
It's an anarchy symbol.
Come on, Frank.
I know. I don't know. Who is that? Anaheim, dude? I'm not a hockey guy. You're not going to find me on ice.
Well, It's Friday night, bro. This is how we roll.
It is Friday night. It's how we roll. Listen, when you're wearing a helmet, man, you know things are getting nuts. But hey,
crazy world out there, bro.
Amen.
Stay strapped.
Amen to that. But thank you for coming on Slay Station tonight, right? You're gonna have some new viewers for your show, right? After tonight, they're gonna fall in love with y'all, right? Go subscribe to YouTube. We'll get to all that. But I'm so happy to have you guys on. Brian, I've known for a couple of years now, about 6 years. When we first started Slay Nation, he invited us on the Ike Live show for a tiny boat episode, right? That was a unique episode.
Indeed it was.
Right? That was a Christmas. That was a Christmas special, 2019. We were the
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was a Christmas special. I had a Santa Claus hat on.
You were the third?
I was the last segment, yes. I was the yep.
Who was I remember one of them. It was memorably the worst guest we've ever had. Who was the other one?
No, there wasn't another one. It was you did like your regular portion of the show.
Oh, okay.
You did the mystery tackle box unboxing. Then the first.
We had Haas in the house, and
yes,
it was about the boat build.
You got it. Yeah. Yep. You had the whole crew was there. So BTC, I've known you for a few years, and we've stayed in touch. And then Ken, I'm really excited to talk with you and meet you. Know what you've been doing in the industry, and I can't wait to dive in deeper.
Frank, you're a man after my own heart. The tournaments you run and stuff like that. I've been down that path, and really enjoyed it. And looking forward to talking with you about that. Looking forward to talking with you about anything. And any friend of BTC is a kind of a questionable friend of mine, actually.
He checks out so far, Ken.
So far, so good. No, we're
Far, so
excited to
good.
be here. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for having us on. It's
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And so, really, let's start the show because there's going to be audience members watching that might not know who you guys are, right? So, I think it's always important give a little background about yourself, so that our guests kind of have a little idea and we can start that connection. And then we're going to dive into our first question or topic of the night, which Ken kind of already touched on briefly. How are we influenced into this great sport, right? Who was that special person or TV show, whatever it might be, right? We're going to talk about that, and then the conversation will evolve from there. But
Devolve.
yeah, or that maybe. Let's say you said it.
It's Friday night, bro.
It's Friday night, dude. I could tell over there in that garage over there, man. There's some
garage
Power
over
Pro
there.
on the wall, dude. All right, Ken, why don't you start us off, sir?
Wow,
Hi,
let's
I'm
see.
Ken Duke.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ken Duke. I'm a tackle-holic, bassaholic, fish-loving maniac. Love the history of the sport. Sold my first magazine article to a national magazine when I was like 18, which was now approximately 1 million years ago when the Earth was still
Yes.
cooling. Did some things when I was a young man that I'm not proud of. I went to law school, practiced
still
law
doing
for a
it.
while.
Nice.
Got back into the writing, editing thing. I've worked for the Game and Fish magazines. I've worked for BASS. I've worked for Fishing Tackle Retailer. I've actually been on the payroll on some level of BASS, MLF, FLW, NPFL. You name it. I've probably worked for them and loved it. I've done radio. I've done some television, and lately, as you were kind enough to introduce us, BTC and I are doing a podcast. I do another podcast with another buddy of mine named Terry Battisti. We call it the Big Bass Podcast. And man, I'm just eating up with it. Absolutely eating up with it.
Yeah. Awesome. And Ken, remind me, where did you grow up again? Was it Georgia?
No, I did live in Georgia for about 20 years, but I'm originally from Florida. I'm originally from Orlando, which is where I live now. So I'm here in what I like to call the bass fishing capital of the world.
Yep, 100%.
America.
That's right.
America.
Ken, I have to ask, where is your tan? Where is your tan?
Well, it turns out
Florida
that this purple smoking jacket blocks the sun as well as any sunscreen you would care to name. And for all you folks listening and watching here, I'm wearing my Bass After Dark outfit because Frankie Provolone asked, and when Frankie Provolone asks, Frankie Provolone gets. So here I am.
Well,
in costume.
Ken did ask. He's like, "You want me to come regular, normal, or the?" I said, "You gotta wear the smoking jacket.
Bring it.
Bring it. Right? Come on, BTC." And I asked Brian to actually wear the helmet tonight. Right? Yeah. I asked him to wear that helmet. All right, Bri, who the hell are you, dude?
Who the hell am I? Well, shoot, I guess kind of the reason I ended up here, I grew up with Ike, childhood friends with Ike and Ellie since we was sixth grade. And, about 10 years ago, he asked me to do Ike Live with him, do a podcast. And so I kind of jumped in that, but I've been a fish head forever. Like the reason him and I became friends, we went to different elementary schools, and then the town we grew up in comes together into one middle school, and there was four of us that fished, and we found each other like the last 4 Fruit Loops in a bowl of milk. You know what I mean? They always they have that gravity and find each other. So we did, and it's been fishing and hockey since then, but we got old for hockey a long time ago. Yeah, except for me, I still Friday nights. I still like to remember the glory days and throw my stupid costume, Yeah. But yeah. So we, Mike went on to do great things, and then we started the podcast, and that's kind of how I ended up into his world.
There he is,
our world,
and here, yeah, and here you are.
Here I are.
I love it.
And now, like Ken, I would have finished that resume with. And now, you work for Bass, NPFL, MLF, FLW, and now you work for Brian the Carpenter.
I do work for Brian the Carpenter. Frank, if you want any insight at all into Bass After Dark, it is I do whatever Brian the Carpenter tells me to do. We do the shows he recommends. We do the segments he likes.
Ah.
I'm just basically.
I thought he meant you were helping hang up
Shane.
drywall, taping,
I
getting
have no.
screws.
I have no skills like that. I'm not a talented person. I just have a smoking jacket. That's what has qualified
Okay.
me for this show.
It's all about looking badass. That's
Yeah,
about it.
but we became friends a number of years ago,
Yeah.
and when he was no longer well, it became a goal of mine to work with Brian and our other buddy, who's our other partner on Bass After Dark, Nathan
Yeah.
Benson. I said, we gotta find a way to work together, and that's what Bass After Dark is. We've lost
Absolutely.
BT's audio, which is my dream. Yes, we've lost his audio.
Can't hear you. Are you muted? Say something.
Something.
You're here. We got you.
Uh,
It's the helmet.
I
Jesus.
received a phone call and it effed everything
Oh,
up,
there we
so
go. Gotcha.
setting phasers to stun.
Yeah. All right. So listen, let's so here's what we're going to do. Look where the both of you are right now, right? In regards to bass fishing and the industry, right? Now let's rewind. Okay, we're going to speed rewind, go back in time and back to the future and talk about, right? How did you get into this sport? Who influenced you? Right? Because I think that's really important. Like when you really I sit in a lot of traffic here in Connecticut going to work. I sit in the Merritt Parkway, sit in a lot of traffic. I even started an Instagram account called Merritt Parkway Frank. And I go live and I'm sitting in traffic. I see deer getting hit by cars. I talk about whatever I see, all the crazy stuff, right? And I use that time for reflection, right? And sometimes I sit there and I think about just whatever's on my mind.
Yeah.
And, when you sit here or you think about, your life and where you are now, right? Because that's how you project your goals. You think about where you came from, where you are, where do you want to be? And like for both of you, what was that aha moment or something that got you hooked? That was it a person? Was it some type of experience? Right. As we discuss this, it's going to take us to where I want to go with this conversation. So, because we all have had this inspiration, this influence, no matter what it is, right? Whether it was a good experience, a
We're
bad
about to find out.
experience. Exactly. We're about to find out, baby.
Yeah.
So
the both of yous.
the both of you. See, this is how you know you have a guy from Jersey in the house with a guy with the last name Provolone, right? It's going to be hey, we got to get the utes in the fishing, right?
That's
A lot
right.
of
Gotta get
use,
the utes.
right? Here's what I learned with BTC, because I've said it before and he's corrected me.
Yes, you did. You've said
Don't
it tonight.
say y'all. Don't say y'all.
Oh
You
yes,
said
y'all
it
is
tonight.
If you're
perfectly
from
good
the
word.
north, don't say y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't say
true.
yuns, don't say yous. It's y'all. It's y'all. I'm an American.
Yeah, this guy's going to turn to ash now. So for the both of you, and I don't care who starts the conversation,
You guys.
just chime in. But
Yeah.
like what inspired you or got you influence into this sport? Just fishing, it doesn't have to be bass fishing, right? But just fishing in general.
BTC.
I'll go first, Ken.
Yeah, man.
Frank, I think about this topic a lot, honestly, and I don't think anybody got me into it. I think it was in my blood. I was born this way. It was no matter what. Like anytime I got near water when I was a kid, and kind of goes for Ike and Ellie too. Although he had a little bit more influence in his family, but most of us grew up, single moms, that kind of thing. The whole divorce that goes on. There seemed to be a lot of it when we grew up. But yeah, so anytime I was near water from little kid on up, drawn to it, had to be there. It was just so I don't think I needed anybody to get me into it. Yeah, I guess that's the short answer to it.
It was just born in your genes.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
That makes sense. That makes sense to me.
I mean, anytime I walk past a body of water, I'm looking at it and I'm just stare into it and think, what's underneath of there? Where are they living?
I used to do the same thing as a kid. I remember going on vacations, right? Being like 7, 8, 9 years old. You're driving over a bridge and it might be over a body of like a lake, right? Like for me, I never have been drawn to salt water, right? Because I get seasick very easily. So I just never saltwater fished unless I'm surf casting, right? And lake pond, always gravitating and always just like looking at logs, looking for lily pad. I don't know, just right. Like you
Yeah.
said, like drawn to it. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Ken, how about you?
I did have somebody kind of lead me into fishing. It was my mom's dad, my maternal grandfather. He was into fishing. He worked for the Alabama Gas Company. He was an artist. He painted signs and things like that, and he traveled all over the state for them. And he carried a fly rod with him and a little tackle box. Whenever he'd go across a creek, he'd stop and he'd fish. And I was the oldest kid in my generation, so I was the first grandson. And I think it was a big deal to him to introduce that first grandson to fishing. And so I owe a lot
First
to
generation
him.
of Americans or
No, no, no.
Oh.
First generation of his kids. I was the first
the
grandchild.
eldest Duke? Okay.
Yes, thank you. And so he got me into it. And then when I was about 12 or 13, we moved to a farm. My dad went off on a business trip one time, and he came back with a copy of Bassmaster magazine.
Oh,
I thought, oh my God, this is a thing. This is not just something I do on the farm pond or in the creek that bordered one side of the farm. This is a thing, and that was earth-shattering to me.
okay. So when did you get that Bassmaster magazine? If you don't mind me asking, like what year
Yeah,
around was that?
that would have been 1976.
76. Okay.
Yeah, and I was 13 years old, and I saw that, and that shook me up. And then I got into it more, got my friends into it more, and pretty soon I formed a little bass club at high school. We had little tournaments. We had John boats, but
Yes.
with
Yes.
12-volt motors or just paddles,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it became a big deal, and it's been a big deal for me ever since.
Okay. Excellent. So, right. Right. We all had different stories, right? For me personally, it was my uncle, right? My uncle, we called him Uncle Wally, right? His nickname was the Walrus, right? Big, hefty gentleman, right? Big beard, bit like, biggest heart ever, but the grip of a grizzly, right? And he had this handlebar mustache that came down, so that's how he got the nickname the Walrus. And so we all growing up, we all know him as Uncle Wally. His real name was
Adidas
Joe.
tracksuit?
No. So this is
Before
this
that.
was my mom. This is my mom's side, so which is the Irish side, right?
His
So
real
no
name was what?
tracksuits, no gold chains.
What was his real name, Frank?
Joe.
Joe. Okay.
Yeah. Real name is Joe, but everybody called him Wally because he resembled a walrus. I wish I had a picture of him because not that he was like, this big, he was a big boy, but like not whatever. But
You got to have the walrus in the studio, man.
I know. I got it.
Come
I
on.
have his picture. Oh my God. Wait a second.
Stop.
You got it?
So my dad's an artist, right, Ken? My dad is an
Yeah.
artist. We call him Frankie the Brush, right? I'm Frankie the Schnoz. He's Frankie the Brush. He's a Brooklyn boy, right? Grew up in Brooklyn. Is it Paulie on The Sopranos? He had the tips, the white, looked like wings on his hair, the gray wing tips on his. I think maybe that was Paulie. I
It's been
can't
a
remember.
while since I watched this.
You know what I'm talking about. And so in Brooklyn, that guy grew up down the street. Nice. That guy grew up down the street from my dad in Brooklyn. And
Sorry.
my dad's a musician and all that. He's best friends with Bruno Mars's dad, all this and that. So
Oh.
my dad drew a painting of my uncle for when my uncle has passed, and my dad drew some paintings of some past who I wanted to be there, and he did these phenomenal. Oh, you know what? No, this isn't it.
Oh,
right.
come on, Frank.
Wait, all right, let me check.
Hold up a stick figure. Good. That would be amazing.
Hold on. This is from my wedding. It's wrapped up. Let's see. I don't think it is. I don't think it's my uncle. No, this ain't it.
God.
This ain't it. That's
All
that's
right.
my mom and my wife's dad. So whatever.
We
so,
wouldn't have known the difference.
Huh?
We wouldn't have known the difference.
That's
You
true.
couldn't fit it
That's
on.
true. All right. But anyway, so my Uncle Wally, that's how I got into the outdoors, right? Growing up, all we did, our family vacations were camping. That's all we did. We went camping, log cabins, always. I remember being up to my chest in little frog ponds, catching frogs as a kid for
Yep.
hours, right? Going fishing with my uncle. He always, he was like that guy that just always had. I grew up with a river in my backyard growing up, so I was fishing
nice.
every day. My uncle would come over, my aunt, my cousins, like 3 times a week. We do barbecue thing. He'd have shiners, new hooks. Oh, Frank, look, I'll never forget when he introduced me to the Castmaster, right? When the Castmaster came out. And I mean, that thing caught everything, flying lures, all the new stuff that you see in commercials. I still have old boxes I never opened from him when he passed, the flying lures. And that just, he just had a way of like really making me enjoy it, right? Like we go fishing when we go camping. I'll never forget this story where it was like a stream, and I made a cast. I was using a rooster tail, and I'm reeling in, and I get snagged. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like 10. I'm like, I got some, Uncle Wally, got something. And he's like, hold it up. I'm like, it's not moving. So he walks out to the middle of the stream to see, if I was snagged or what was going on. Maybe the fish got stuck. I hooked a dead raccoon.
Oh man.
I hooked a dead raccoon. And he held it up from the tail. He goes, hey, look what you caught, Franco. And I was like, oh. I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed. And my mom was just roasting me that whole night. Like, she's like, oh, Frank, where's that fish you caught? Never mind. It was a dead raccoon, And I just remembered it was just so fun, right? We just had such a good time. And that was my influence, and from there, it just has stuck. So, we all have that, whether you feel like you're born with it, it's just there.
I do.
I believe that.
I think some people just are. I think,
100%.
and maybe there's a family member that helped it happen, and maybe if I had that family member, I'd be, no, probably not.
Absolutely.
Sitting behind a classic trophy. Why not? Probably not.
But so that leads us, right? So we kind of fall in love with the sport. You're introduced, right? And we're just going to fast forward a few years. Now you got the love of just fishing, right? Whatever it is, right? When we're kids and it doesn't matter. Trout, whatever, it's panfish, who cares, right? Catching little schoolie stripers off the dock. Eventually, I feel like almost a lot of fishermen eventually get introduced to tournament fishing, right? What's the next phase? What's the next step, right? Because we're looking at Bassmaster magazine, and you're like, they're competing. What is this? A competition? What kind of contest is this? So like, how did you guys get how did that tournament bug kind of kick in? What was your first oh, whoa, I can make some money. There's a club near me. Or maybe you started your own, whatever. But what took it from just like fishing for fun and stuff to like a club or tournament fishing?
Well, for me, it was that first Bassmaster magazine to even learn that tournaments were a thing, and then to try to find out a little bit more about how they worked and stuff, and then forming that high school bass club, which was really just a group of guys who would get together and fish tournaments.
Yeah.
And from there, I was living on a farm in South Carolina. It didn't where I was to real tournamenting. I had no idea how to kick those dots. We were close to Lake Murray. And so whenever there'd be a big time tournament on Lake Murray, my buddies and I would go out there to weigh in, and I didn't have guts to talk to those guys. I didn't know what I would say. I'd watch Dave Goby or Bill Dance or Rick Lund walk by and not have the guts to say anything to them.
Oh wow!
And when I was still in high school, I bought a used bass boat and more little tournaments, but I never knew how to take it to that next level. I wasn't creative enough or maybe ambitious enough in that way, but I knew I enjoyed the competition, and so I played at it in small derbies.
Ah, okay. Actually, you know what? BTC, do you know I got this picture? Who's that right there?
Uh-oh.
Wait, hold on.
BTC, who's that? Ken, don't say nothing.
I don't know. I'm waiting for the pop.
Oh, you can't see it?
I see it now.
Yeah, who is that? On that John boat, 2 trolling motors.
Oh no, there's at least 3 on there, Frank.
3 trolling motors.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
I don't know who that is. Am I supposed to know who that is?
Yeah, that's me on the bow.
That's Ken.
Is that you? Oh my God, it is you.
I
That's
didn't
me.
think,
Shit.
Ken,
A
I'll be
lot
honest. When
heavier.
I
A
first
lot
looked
heavier.
at this,
Yeah.
like, I mean, obviously you lost some weight, right? I mean, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah.
Wow. How
Uh,
about that?
that's about 25 or 30 years ago. Um, and you know, I probably had the most fun I've ever had in tournaments. I was running some a buddy and I. The guy in the back, his name is David Johnson, one of the best outdoor riders in America, and a really great guy. We met, and he was a trout guy, and I was a bass guy. So I said, "Okay, I'm going to teach you bass fishing. You teach me trout fishing." We had a lot of fun. Anyway, we'd fish these little electric only derbies. There's a ton of electric only lakes in Georgia, and we weren't happy the way anybody else was running the tournaments, so we took them over. We created our own circuit and all that, and yeah, somebody took a picture of me running a boat. That's I think that's I can't remember what lake that is in central Georgia. It's not my favorite though. My favorite was Varner back in the day. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's me.
That's
And
that
and,
looks like a
and
10
lazy
footer.
David Johnson in the back. He should be fishing. What the
Yeah.
hell,
Yeah, what's he
man?
doing?
No, what is he
Exactly.
doing?
He's probably
Checking his
changing lures.
Instagram.
But yeah, that was back in the days before
Checking his
we couldn't.
MySpace.
You know,
Yeah.
I didn't have a Torpedo or something like that, so
No.
we'd run 3 or 4 electric motors on there. Probably had
100%.
9 batteries in that boat. That was an old Grumman that I stripped
We
all
did-
the
we-
console out and everything.
We
Oh
did
my-
the same thing, Ken.
Yeah. I love
Had
it.
had a blast doing that, and had my best ever day of competitive fishing in that boat. Had a 30-pound day once. So that was
Oh, okay.
that was
30-pound
not
day,
part of the
dude.
30-pound day, but
That's man. That's
decent
awesome.
fish right there.
Yeah, that's a
Trick
nice
horn
Absolutely.
fish. Trick horn
Yeah.
fish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the old Duke. Look at the old
Yeah,
Duke
man.
over there. Look at this guy.
Yeah, now I'm old and decrepit and at least thinner. At least I
Oh
got
my
that
God.
going for me.
Yeah, not for nothing. I'll when you sent me that picture in the email and I'm looking, I was like, that doesn't look like Ken. I was like, did he send me
Oh.
someone else? I was like, who was that? Biffle? Who was that? Tommy Biffle? Dude, who was that? Who was that cat?
There's-
Yeah.
is that young? Is that an earlier Kenyon Hill? Is that?
Yeah.
Where is that?
We have
How'd you catch that 30-pound bag, Ken?
It was Lake Varner is in central Georgia, north central Georgia, and
Burn it to the ground.
went out there on a Sunday, well, on a Friday before the tournament. Practiced a little
Oh.
muddy, hot, muddy, cold, terrible. Didn't catch a thing, but I was determined that the fish were where I thought they were going to be. So went back out there on tournament day, and I knew where there were some bushes, and I flipped them up.
Oh, my
Flipped him up.
God.
Oh, finished second, which pissed me off a little bit. Yeah, 30,
second with 30 pounds.
30.1, lost to 30.8, but I did have big fish, 9.5. So that
Oh my
Damn.
God.
that meant that I won more money than first place.
Yeah.
Right. We don't see fish like that.
Well, yeah,
New Jersey
it's-
and Connecticut, 9.5 in a tournament alone. Damn.
that's my best ever tournament fish. But yeah, just running those tournaments, guys, I just loved it. It was so much
Yeah.
fun, and you know that's really grassroots stuff. There's not
Yeah.
there's enough money at stake so everybody wants to take it seriously and stuff, but there's not so much that people, you know, go crazy and
Right.
and are as likely to cheat or
Yeah.
talk trash
Right.
or stuff like that. It was a kind of
Yep.
sweet spot.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. We have a Georgia Slay Nation. They've been, we've had a trail down there now 5-6 years, and it's so I understand that everything's electric, right? Lots of electric
Yeah.
only
Ton of
waters.
electric only.
Yeah, and these
And-
guys, same thing. I see their posts, when we share them, and I'm like, that guy has 3 trolling motors. I'm like, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely. One of the best, I started my own circuit because I couldn't fish on Saturdays. I had a radio show to do on Saturdays, so I wanted to fish on Sunday, so I had to start my own league. And one of the organizations that I think may still be out there called High Voltage Bassmasters or something like that. They were all
Okay.
guys who worked for some electric company, and they really knew how to rig up a boat.
Mhm.
They really knew how to wire it out, deck it out, and stuff like that. They were the envy of guys like me who had no skills.
BTC. So
Yes.
what's your story with tournament fishing? I think I might know, but share it.
Yes. Yeah. So right out of high school, pretty much the same four, five, 4 or 5 of us and I mean, this was even all through high school that fished. It was a weird thing, that if you grew up in the '80s, or if you didn't and you watched Stranger Things, you kind of got. I feel like they did a good job of expressing the vibe of that era. Like,
100%.
oh, we were assholes, man. We were just like, like the anti-bullying thing. It has done some good. It has. May have gone a little too far, but it has done some good. Anyhow, yeah. So like we kind of hit it. It was like embarrassing, I remember one of the best jokes we played on our buddy Tom. Our history teacher had a board up in the classroom for everybody, the girls, to come put the prom pictures up. So the whole board's filled up with the girls with their giant hair and their prom dresses and their dates. And we put a
Aquanet
picture.
hairspray.
Oh hell yeah, teased straight up. And we put a picture up of Tom with his shirt off, holding a bass with the big Terminator X.
I heard you guys say this story.
Oh my! It was just so damn funny, dude. I don't know. Watching the people go up and look at it, it's not even a big fish. Why do you put that there? Anyhow, but yeah, after high school, we formed a club. It was me, Mike, buddy John McGraw, Dave Brodzik, who was a regular on Ike Live,
Yep.
Chris Delfonso, who was the younger brother of a buddy of ours. So we had to go to that to get a 5th, and then we fabricated a 6th member just so that we could be official with bass.
Hit the minimum.
Yeah, we had to have 6 members to be officially a bass club, with BASS. So we Steve Pellegrino was our ghost member.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I thought you got like a mannequin from Caldor's.
No, we just signed Steve up, whether he was aware or not. But we started that club. It was 5 of us, and we all had Coleman crawdads.
Oh,
guys,
yeah.
I was going to look up a picture of that real quick.
Nice, like a bass hunter style boat.
Yeah. Let me try to pull that image up real quick.
Like of one that you actually had, or you're just looking one up on the internet?
Yeah, random one on the internet.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I mean, this is whatever. That's a Pelican, but
yeah, I mean, I could share my screen and look one up, but whatever.
Yeah. Anyhow, so yeah, we all had Coleman crawdads. We decked them out. They come stock with like metal tube rails and some plastic compartments with foam in there for flotation.
Yep.
That all got tossed, and we were putting wood decks, plywood, and framing, and they didn't last but a handful of years, but they got us out there, and they were decked out, man. Front decks, foot control in the front, built-in live well, and
Ooh.
trolling motors on the back, the kicker motors. Even had like the sweet setup was they had the hot. Remember the hot foot?
I don't remember. I personally don't. I might have been.
So,
I might be too young. I mean, not that I'm old, young, but I don't remember.
Yeah. So hot foot was an extended handle. There's 2 parts to it. There's an extended handle that you would put on a regular trolling motor that you could use your leg to steer it. You know what I mean?
Oh.
It kind of had a thing. But the other part of it was a remote switch that you would mount on the floor. You would tap it on and off, or it had a little thing that you could pull for constant on. So we rigged that remote switch to the back motor, keep the back motor locked in straight, have that switch up front, which is how I have my boat set up now with the Torpedo in the back. So it'd be on the front on the troll motor and just kick that switch. And fire it up,
Fire it up, baby.
Let's
go 4 miles an hour. Let's go.
Yeah. And then you hit a stump, and you go that way, boat goes that way. But yeah, so we started with 5 of us officially, and then started advertising and put out flyers, and eventually club got up to like 20 some members or whatever.
Oh yeah, let's go.
And we had our first money tournament. How clubs, you all have to get to that point where you got to raise some money for activities or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
cigarettes, beer,
Yeah.
dirty magazines. So we had this tournament on Cooper River in South Jersey here, which is small, dude. I don't know. It's long. I don't know, a couple hundred acres maybe. Our first one, we had 92 boats come out to,
Oh,
and our second one, we had 97. We bought a 1-day insurance policy, tagged, caught fish the week leading up to it, tagged them, and then if somebody caught a tagged fish during the event, we'd pull a tag. If it matched, you won that bass boat that was put up.
cool idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a lot to
Nice.
put together,
Yeah.
but we had a massive turnout.
That's awesome turnout.
It's huge.
An awesome turnout.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that wasn't
Oh.
even us fishing it.
So
Our club.
did you know that many people were going to register, or is that a morning of? You're like, holy crap, what is going on?
Yeah, no.
How are we going to handle this?
And we had the backing of the county clerk's office. So we met with them ahead of time. And
How old
they
were you when
had
you did this?
early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we were out there, bro.
Hell yeah, baby.
Getting it
I
done.
love it. I love it.
Yeah. Early 20s. Yeah, so they had hot dogs and I don't know, soda or something at the end and coffee donuts in the morning. Like,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
That
big time.
tournament still happens every year, but not like that.
Not like that.
Nah.
I like
Matter of fact, there's rowers are in there now, so
Oh,
it's
gotcha.
kind of big money's kind of taking over.
Yeah, we're dealing with that up here in Connecticut in some of these bodies of water. You get the row teams that are kind of they have their, I don't know, competitions, contests, whatever it is.
They shut the whole lake down. Bassmaster
Yeah.
can't shut a body of water down for a tournament, but a high
But a
school
rowing team can.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Anyway, I love it. So the awesome thing is, one thing we all have in common is the small boat, the grassroots style tournament
Yeah.
fishing. And Ken, the same reason, one of the reasons why I started Slay Nation was the same reason. I can only fish on Sundays.
Exactly.
Because,
Yeah.
my wife at that time, when, I've been tournament fishing. I was for 8 years, I was a non-boater, right, in the
Right.
ABA. I did that for a long time here in Connecticut. And then after I was done with that, I started Slay Nation. And one of the great things, what my wife had worked on the weekends, on Saturdays, right? And when we had kids and all this, that's when I started Slay Nation. It was when we started having kids. I was like, Sundays is my availability to go slay. And so what better than to be a director and make the schedule that works around you? And at
Yeah.
first you might get people like, oh, it's Sunday. Who wants to fish 8 hours and then go to work on Monday? I'm like, I don't mind, because that's the only day I can go. If you want to fish, you'll fish. And so now you don't hear a peep about it. Sundays is the day. That's when we go out. And so being a director has its privileges of being able to do that, right? You place it out there. Whoever wants to show up and sign up will come. And the rest is history. But so this is like, so the cool thing is we had whether you were just, you were born with the fishing gene or you were influenced, right? Takes us into tournaments now. And then now that you're in tournaments and right, whether you're writing art, now all of a sudden you're writing articles, you're in newspapers, you're in magazines. Like I feel like sometimes once you start to get into that tournament scene, now it's like, all right, what else can I get my feet wet in? Right? We all are doing it. We're all doing it, right? Because you see everybody like, oh, I want to know this fishing retailer. I want to know, this guy who owns, this bait company who I just met at this expo, right? Because it makes us feel important. It makes us feel a part of something, right? And that's something special about this smaller community, right? Because it is a small community in the grand scheme. And so how did the both of you guys go from like the tournament thing and you're running around little John boat clubs to fast forwarding another few years, and then you finally get your feet into a different part of the industry, whether it's doing a podcast, working for a company, maybe you're on the pro team for, your favorite bait company. Like what steps?
How did we go from the crawdad to the hockey helmet?
How did you go from the crawdad to the big daddy? How did you go from the crawdad? Yeah, this guy. I think you're going backwards with the helmet tonight, BTC. Jesus
Well, all
Christ.
right, then use Ken as an example. Ken,
So Ken,
getting
all
to
right,
that
let's go with
level,
you.
jacket.
How did you go from tournament fishing, and then like, what was your first introduction? Like, hey, Ken, you want to write or whatever? What was like your first job? I guess.
Well, I was in in English class, high school, like most everybody. You've got assignments, you got to write about something, and I just wanted to write about bass fishing because that's what I was interested in. That's what I was reading about. And so if I had some assignment to write an essay or a story, my story was about bass fishing. And I guess I got enough English teachers in high school to encourage me and say, hey, you're not too bad. And I was reading everything I could get my hands on. I'm reading Bassmaster and Field and Stream, Outdoor Life, and all that stuff. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I can write for them too. And I just got crazy lucky. The first article I ever tried to write and sent into a magazine, they bought it. And the second one, and the third one, and the 10th one, and the 12th one, and they were buying them all.
You mean buy like monetarily or buying
Yeah.
like they like what your content is?
They're paying me money for
Heck
these
yeah.
manuscripts that I am typing on a typewriter. That's how old I am. And because before I was, carving them on cave walls and no one would come look at them. So that was a slow process to get circulation. So
Tough
that
on the fingers.
that emboldened me to think, okay, I might be able to do this. This is another way to do the sport, because I couldn't really see myself buying one of these fancy new bass boats and hitting the road. And how do you do that?
Yeah.
Right.
But I could sell these stories. But then I made the horrible mistake of law school and practicing law for a while and stuff like that. But when I wanted to get out of that, because I hated it, I came back to the writing stuff. And even though I don't make as much money as I used to when I was a lawyer, I have a much better life. And
Yeah.
And I talked about how when I was a kid and going to those tournaments, I was afraid to talk to Rick Clunn and Dave Glebe and Bill Dance and Roland Martin. But when it becomes kind of your job and you have reason to talk to these guys, you find out that those are amazing conversations,
Yeah.
and they're a lot of fun, and so you do look for other opportunities to do something. Whether it's I got into radio. I had a newspaper column I was writing for all these magazines. Then the internet comes along, and so everything kind of expands the opportunities. And I'll tell you guys, as a magazine writer or internet writer, nobody knows who you are. But
Yeah.
then I started making a few appearances on some podcasts, Bass Talk Live with Mark Jeffries and Matt Pangrack,
Oh,
and
yeah,
some
I
other
love
shows like
BTL.
that.
Yep.
Suddenly, and
Some
Bass
other shows.
University, it mainly Bass Talk Live and Bass University, Ike Live.
Exactly.
You come on those shows, and then you walk through the Bassmaster Classic Expo, and people have some idea who you are, and they stop you
Yeah.
and they say something to you, and you say, "Wow, this is the power of
It's
that
intoxicating.
platform." And I don't know about intoxicating, but obviously I'm intoxicated, or I wouldn't be dressed like this. But yeah, it's interesting. And then you say, oh, I can create my own program. I can work with my friends to create something that matches our vision. And that's intoxicating. That's what excites
It's
me.
fun. Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
That's great. And Brian, what about you? Because like, dude, you're kind of like you're a staple in the bass fishing. People know BTC, right? I don't know if you said it before. You're like, I don't know, buddy. And like, people know you. You know a lot of people. Like you
Yeah,
are
well, as I say,
you are entrenched just as much as anybody else is.
Indeed.
doesn't make any sense, but
That-
nothing does today, right?
No, well, you keep wearing a helmet. You just keep getting popular. That's just the way it
The
goes,
first
dude.
night of the helmet, I figured,
Right?
they keep
It's-
following me. Well, here, follow this.
It's actually, you know what? You should probably give credit to that garage. That's what makes you famous. Is that garage?
It doesn't matter. This is COVID fallout.
Oh, is it? That was a
Yeah.
COVID project?
I've been sits behind my house and sat here for almost 20 years full of construction stuff.
Ah,
And COVID happened, and I was like, I got to clean that out. I had a couple of weeks where,
yeah.
when they shut everything down, where I didn't have any jobs to go to and had to do something. And
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. But
nothing's all bad and nothing's all good. It's all
Yeah.
kind of a balance.
this guy, look at him. He's sophisticated.
It's the most
Oh, yeah.
famous garage in bass fishing is what
It is the Garage Mahal, dude.
The Garage Mahal.
But
I
talk
like it.
about how you are now part of the industry, right? And like talk about that transition from running John boat tournaments and fishing with your buddies into like what you're doing now, and producer, right?
I mean, I was, yeah. When Mike hit me up to do a podcast, or came to me talking about it, and it was Mark Jeffries that had brought it to Mike. The only thing that I knew, I had been listening to podcasts, for a few years at that point. I was pretty early on with, I caught I caught a clip of Joe Rogan's podcast on YouTube by accident somehow.
Yep.
And I was just drawn to it. It was so different because they were sitting there and they were having a conversation and there was nobody, it wasn't scripted. There were no commercials. Nobody told them what they had to say. The conversation just flowed, but it was it was good conversation. And
Yeah.
I was like, I just found myself wanting to listen to more of that, and then got into listening to a bunch of other podcasts. But that was when he came to me about it, I was like, oh, well, I listen to them. I know what I like. I have no skills whatsoever when it comes to any of that stuff. I swing a hammer for a living and run a business. But I was like, yeah, screw it, dude. I'm like middle-aged. I use a midlife crisis project, and so we kind of dove into that deal, and it was a lot of fun.
100%.
Oh yeah, we did it Mike's still doing it, and I'll be back in there at some point, I'm sure.
Yep.
But starting early 2023, he just decided he was going to do them by himself, and it was a good move. It needed some change, whatever. So that freed things up, and I figured at that point, I had stepped away from Bass U the year before, just because work has been insane the last 4 years, just ridiculous.
Good. That's
So I
good.
stepped away from doing Bass U, which was weekly, and then I was out at Ike Live. So I was like, well, it was a good 10 years, probably move on to the next thing. I'll probably get rid of social media and just go back to living life as I was before I was Brian the Carpenter. And then Ken hit me up just as I was really starting to embrace this new chapter. Like, this is going to be good, dude. I can cut a lot of things out of my life.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to miss it, and then Ken hits me up, and I had been telling Ken for years at that point he needed to have his own podcast.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to get the credit that I deserve here, but I'm going to give it to me.
Or the blame.
Don't give it, because his head's going to get too big and it won't fit in that helmet.
Oh yeah, we'll get it all. I'm going to give me the credit. But no, he finally got the Big Bass podcast started with Terry at the beginning of 23, and you guys, you ought to check that out. It's so freaking good because it's just full of facts and history, awesome history of the sport. He came to me with the idea for Bass After Dark, and the concept of the show to me sounded like unlike anything else that's in the fishing world right now, podcast wise. Not that fishing needed any more podcasts, because there's a lot of them, but this one's different. It had a lot of thought behind it, and I knew working with Ken it's an honor. I mean, a serious honor, and something that I was like, man, I really can't turn this down. And here we are, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Once we finally got going,
there's the
There we
marriage.
are. There we go. I have better footwear in that picture.
Yeah, you
I
do.
will say that.
Where was that? Is that down in Florida?
Yeah, that's Bienville Plantation. We're in Will Davis Jr.'s boat.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah. Back-to-back Bass Nation championships and an elite trophy to his credit. Will Jr. is beyond the real deal. But Frank, just to go back to retrace a little bit about what Brian is saying.
About my fish? Okay.
Oh yeah, that's a really good fish. Really skinny fish, unfortunately.
Hold on,
but a really good fish.
Yeah.
A really
Hey,
good
Brian, it's a
fish.
good fish. It's a good fish.
Thanks,
Brian.
man. Thanks, Frank.
No problem.
Appreciate it, boss. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, Ken, take it away.
Yeah, I set the hook and I let him reel it in, just like you do with a kid. No, but Brian and I had become friends some years earlier, and I always really admired him on Bass University and on Ike Live. I mean, I just
Yeah.
watched the way he tried to herd cats on there, and I use the same line all the time, Frank. So I apologize if you've heard the story, but I really love the way Brian comforts the afflicted and afflicts the comfortable.
Ooh, yeah.
He just has a way of putting in whatever element a show needs at that moment to push it forward, whether it's to calm things down or to drive things out of control.
Yeah.
And I said, not only do I just think the world of him as a human being, but I just think he's so good.
Yeah, he's a finesse fisherman. Yeah.
He's a finesse conversationalist too. And so that got me
I would say
thinking,
junk. I would say more of a junk
fisherman.
Junk fisherman, junk conversationalist.
I also love the way
across the board.
he can incite something in a conversation and then back away so that he's not dragged into it in any meaningful way so that he gets blamed. I think that's really cool and savvy. But he does get blamed for a lot of stuff on Bass After Dark. But anyway, really wanted to work with my friend Brian.
Yeah.
I had another buddy, Nathan Benson, who engineers the show for us, and he's another spectacular human being. And we got a fabulous intern now. So
yeah,
the group of people that I get to work with on Bass After Dark is amazing.
That's awesome. And what, Brian?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead. Yeah, exactly.
So this conversation took me exactly where I wanted to be at this point, right? Was talking about the new podcast, Bass After Dark. And Ken, we were touching on it before Brian popped on backstage. And, I listen to tons of podcasts, especially fishing podcasts, right? Because I have to with what Slay Nation has going on. Plus I'm just a fan. I like being in the know with what's going on with the big boat stuff, right? Bassmasters, MLF, all that stuff, right? And I got to be aware of what's going on in the kayak world. Okay. So I listen to tons of podcasts, right? And of course I have my favorites, but like when yours came out, now Bass After Dark has been out, maybe 2 months, a month and a half?
We did our 12th show last night.
You did our show? 4th?
Our number 12.
12. Okay.
So our 12th show. Yeah. We started in November.
So November. Okay. All right. Let's just say 3-4 months. I have not, even like a Netflix series, whatever, a series on Amazon Prime. I haven't looked forward to Thursday nights at 9 p.m. than I have right now. And I'm being honest because it's you guys your show is awesome. It's not the usual stuff, right? I'm sick and tired of, nothing against it, but I'm sick and tired of watching a podcast, people still talking about forward facing sonar, right? I can give two shits. I don't have any of that stuff, right? Two, I'm just like, sometimes in the kayak world, it's like the same guest, the same winner, the same. Okay, I feel like I know this guy. I've heard the story a million times. You guys do something totally different, which I love. Plus, what I want to get to is there's almost like a little sub community coming off of your podcast in the YouTube. Like I usually watch on YouTube every night. It's the same crew hopping out. It's the same group of guys. Epic Eric's on there, right? You got Jig Squad on there. You got Diggs, Diggs Tackle, maybe it is, right? And a few other guys. Terry Battisti's on there. And it's always, now, it used to be someone would log in and say, "Good evening, gents." Now it's, "Good evening, Slay. Good evening, Epic Double E. Good evening," right? And so we're building like this little sub-community. Which guys are logging in, going to be watching, right? And I love that, right? Because now you feel like you're watching with some friends, okay? Yeah. And like that, it's making it very personable, right? It's like you have your little crowd now. It's almost like a little tournament club, right? We're all showing up the same day, same time.
There's often completely different show going on in the comments.
Yes.
Well, that's true too.
Me away.
Honestly, I have to almost scroll up, so I'm watching you and I'm not watching the text so much. I'm being honest, because it's like I used to always pay attention because there'd be sub conversations, and I'm like, all right, whatever. I got.
And then you miss something going on up there, and it's
exactly.
Going on.
Yeah, and I miss a joke or something. I'm like, oh, what did he say? Like last night, there was the night Well, a few. I've actually been taking notes, right? When you talked about, does color matter in baits? What are the solar and the lunar phases? How do they affect fish's behavior, right? And I remember watching those episodes and reposting it in the Slay Nation Facebook group saying, guys, take some notes. Go back and watch this.
They
You
were
will
good.
become a better, like, your show is awesome. One, I love the guests don't know who's hopping on. That's fun. Like last night when Jacob and that Matt Mattingly, one of them hopped on, the other one hopped on. They're like, yo, I didn't know you were going to be on. Right. That's awesome. Right. And I know your
But
concept behind that, which is genius. And
thank you.
your topics are just, yeah, Brian, there you go. Uh-oh, that helmet's getting hired. I don't know. And yeah, dude. And
Okay.
but it's just fun, you know, like it's just, you have a great mix of knowledge, experience, and then you got BTC. You know what I mean? So
That's what I'm here for. Exactly.
It's
The
just
a guy, yeah, a guy on the mess board was questioning the helmet, and I'm like,
oh, that's
balance, man.
That's
Balance.
G Rock. That's one of my guys, G Rock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
put it this way, G Rock, right? Awesome guy.
Yeah.
I'll never forget somebody years ago. G Rock's been a Slayer since I started it. He's one of my faithfuls. And somebody was at an expo and they called me up on my phone, like, yo, Frank, one of your new members here. His name's G Rock. And I'm like, oh, what's up? And then we met him, and I was like, dude, more like G Pebble, you know. You're thinking the name G Rock, you're thinking I'm a big guy, right? I was thinking a muscular guy, right?
Yeah.
And so G Rock loves you, by the way. He loves all you guys. But yeah, that's who that is. That's G Rock.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but yeah, it's about back to what you were saying about how amazing the show is. I don't want to interrupt that.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, let me continue.
Thank you for all the kind words. That's very, very nice of you, Frank. Really.
Absolutely. And so I look so forward to watching the show, but also it's the guests coming on. Your topics are awesome. And then the cream of the crop. Last night's top 10 was definitely one of the best. I mean, the whole conversation when it was being read, I forgot who reads them. Is that Nathan?
Nathan reads them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like, oh my God, some of those names. I'm sorry. Those were hilarious. Done. And it's such a unique twist, right? Ken's got the monologue, which I know BTC, right? Are you responsible for that, Bri? Are you responsible for that? Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. It's just a great kickoff, because here's what it reminds me of, Ken. I was thinking about this last night. I don't know which president. I don't know if it was the 40s, 50s, 60s, but fireside chats. I know there was a president.
FDR.
There you go.
FDR right? In the 30s did those. Yeah.
Yes. Fireside chats. I mean,
he stole that from Ken.
He stole that from Ken. Smoking jacket.
He even wore a smoking jacket for those, Frank.
Exactly. I got a text from a buddy of mine. He doesn't even fish. He's from Rhode Island. He's like, what is that? Is that Ken Hefner? And the old Hugh Hefner. And so whatever. But it reminds me of that, because I think part of your show is very personable, right? It's intimate, right? All right. It's nighttime. People are usually, like, let's be honest. When I watch it, I'm sitting on the couch. The lights are off. I'm chilling out. Right, I'm chilling out.
Pants.
What'd you say?
Pants.
Yes, pants, dude.
Our show is pants optional, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not playing with the 3.5-inch swim bait, and so I'm watching. So you know what I mean. So it's like just a great combination of things that, you know, I personally think you hit the nail on the head right now, right? And hopefully nothing changes. You keep it as is, because it's totally different. And there's some big names that have some good podcasts in the fishing industry, but I'm telling you right now, I put them on, I shut them right off the first 2 minutes. They say, oh, this guest. I'm like, Jesus Christ. They get the same 5 guests on every time, and they talk about the same stuff. And
why are you talking about straight cast like that?
No, not straight cast. I like straight cast.
Oh, I talk about same guest. Jeez.
No, it's true. It's true. But I like those guys. I listen to them regularly. And, you know, that's another, I like that podcast a lot. But no, I'm talking about some other podcasts, and I'm just like, oh my God. And plus, sometimes the guests that come on, it looks like you know, when we went down flipping bushes, and you know, and I'm like, I'm gonna
just because you can catch them, don't mean that you can teach or Bass University or that you can be entertaining.
Yeah, well, that's
or
that's my
interesting or
point.
have a personality or
That is my point. When you have
yeah,
your panel of three come on and yourselves, there brings energy because there's a level of expectation which says, "Hey, I'm coming on the show, excuse me, as an expert in my field."
yeah,
And so there's a level of expectation, which means you're going to have quality guests that bring quality, if that makes sense. And
yeah.
that's,
They're not holding anything back.
well, that,
Really appreciate your saying that, Frank, because that's a lot about what goes into why we do it that way. You know, we look at our show topics and we want to be able to pick any guests who we think are going to be right for that topic. And sometimes they're people, you know, the audience has never heard of. And one of the things we're really working hard to get is the audience's trust that we're going to bring the right people to the show and they're going to be able to say something that's enlightening and entertaining and educational. And over time I think we can get there with that. But I'm already seeing enough of a response that I'm really enthused
Yeah.
about it and encouraged.
yeah,
Because
Right. Our shows aren't predicated upon the name
yeah,
of the
no.
guest.
If we
yes.
put out the names of the guests sometimes, you know, and they're three people the audience has never heard of, well, a lot of people might not tune in for that. But if we can get their trust that we got the right people, maybe they're not big names, but we got the right people, then
They're
we're
going to know who they are by the time it's done.
Well, that's what I love about your show because let's be honest, when you bring on guys like Terry Battisti, who's Bass Archives and all this, right?
yeah.
I didn't know who the hell he was. I'll be honest with you. How would a lot of us would not know. And that's what I love because now I see all the post Bass Archives on Facebook and I'm like, oh, that's Terry's.
That's that guy.
Yeah.
That
And I'm
guy.
like, oh, okay. So now you start connecting dots. And then when you did the history of baits and stuff in that episode, that was awesome. That
Yeah.
was awesome. And even the guys like last night, Matt Mattingly, Jacob, I forgot Jacob's last name. But like
Stem.
these are
Jacob
the guys
Bros.
behind
Yeah.
the scenes that know what baits are hot, what's selling, what the trends are. That's so important. It's such another level of what's going on around us that we're all just so naive to. We're just like, you just follow whatever. You're like, oh, I'm getting myself a 9-inch swim bait. That's it. Let's go. Right. That's all I'm doing. I'm just following the bandwagon train. But now listening to so Matt Mattingly, what company does he own again? Pittman?
Well, he doesn't own it, but he's the principal guy. He's the main guy at Pittman
And
Creek Wholesale, which is the biggest distributor of bass baits in the country.
so
If you,
when you said
Yeah.
that last night, I was like, oh shit, what do you think
Oh,
I did on
shit.
my phone afterwards? I went and I Googled, what is this?
there you go, Pittman
You know what
Creek
I'm saying?
Wholesale.
You
Yeah.
know, nobody would know about that. I thought, honestly, when
Right.
you said the leading bass fishing retailer, I thought it was Tackle Warehouse or something, right?
You know, and Pittman is a wholesaler. They're the middleman between the manufacturer and the retailer.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're supplying people like Susquehanna Tackle and Georgia Cord, and they're supplying companies like Omnia Fishing and Jacob Bros. So they're a
Gotcha.
major player.
Yeah,
in the world.
but it's so unique. Name
Yeah.
another podcast that's, I don't know, like doing some of that stuff, right?
Straight
Like,
cast.
Straight cast. Okay. Tin
They're
Cup.
not doing that.
I know.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Never
Well,
mind. I'm not
well,
gonna say it.
when
Tin Cup hasn't paid him in 3 years.
All right. Stop. Stop.
when we come up with when we came up with the idea to do Bass After Dark, yeah, these are Frank, you nailed it, man. You're seeing behind the scenes without even talking with us about it. You know, we were trying to come up with something a little bit different. We were wanting to bring a spotlight to some people who don't usually get a spotlight because we knew there was
Yeah.
something
And
really cool to be had there.
Well, your channel has grown extremely quickly. Like if you've only been up for 3-4 months, I've seen it go from 200 subscribers to like 2,500 now. You're almost that, right? Like
Yeah.
over 2,400. I know that. And I was like, whoa, not that I pay attention to all that stuff, but when I log in and getting ready for your live to pop on, you see it in the left-hand corner there. And I'm like, oh my God, that was freaking quick. Like, you know what I mean? So that's really good. That's kudos to you guys.
And
Thanks again,
kudos
Frank.
to Brian the Carpenter because
And-
Brian is the guy who
The only
Who was
guy on the
the-
show with social media.
there you go.
Yeah. And
Or
here's
social skills.
my next question is, you're starting off hot. How do you keep these interesting topics keep coming in, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you have like a plan? Like, hey, February, whatever, we're talking this. February, this, we're doing this. March, we're doing that. Like, how do you keep those juices flowing of this interesting stuff?
We've got Ken has a mother list of, is it 200?
Yeah, we
About
have over 200 show topics
Awesome.
queued up.
Okay.
yeah, on a list that we choose from, and then we kind of work on figuring it out. Figuring out what we're 3 months in, right? Last night was show 12.
Yeah.
We're still figuring things out. Where exactly our sweet spot is, who our audience is, and what they want, what they're responding to. I have a little bit of a vibe on the audience and the timing of things. I think, to be honest, I think the AOY show that we did last week, I think I was early on. I wanted to do it before the season started.
Yep.
But as we were getting closer to the show and I'm seeing the reaction and kind of feeling the vibe, I'm like, they're not into it yet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the season's about to start, but most people don't even know this.
Yeah.
I should have been on that. I've been doing it long enough. So that show needed to happen for audience sake, after a couple tournaments when people are like into it,
Okay.
but
That makes sense.
that was my read on it, and honest assessment of myself. But yeah, we're just trying to gauge what the people want and what's going on in the industry and time of season,
Absolutely.
fishing trends.
But that the AOI race one, who do you think's going to win AOI? And this series, that might be another one you can possibly repeat again after a few tournaments happen, right? Or a topic could be, hey, who's the hottest angler right now? Who's hot?
Frank, if we find a really good topic that really resonates with the audience, we plan to bring it back week after week after week after week, just consecutive shows, all about the very same topic.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I'm kidding.
I know you are. I know you are. No, but I love it. And so, because sometimes I know for me, like this, like what we do here, it's not really, I don't consider this a podcast. It's like a show. Just like we usually have started this because we were highlighting our members and our directors, right? These everyday anglers, bringing them on. Like I've had, some guys come on, their grandkids are watching, their wives like, oh my God, Grandpa Morris is famous. Look at him on here. He's on the Heat Your Meat hot seat. What the hell? What's that? Right? And
The Heat Your Meat hot seat?
You don't know about the Heat Your Meat hot seat? Come on, DTC. That's our big bass.
Awesome.
That's what we call our big bass. So every Slay Nation event, the big bass, the lunker of the event, that's a great way to promote our sponsor, Heat Your Meat, is the Heat Your Meat hot seat, big bass award.
Did that start last year?
That started not
Yeah,
last year.
last year.
Yeah, last year. Because before that, we were with Monster Bass,
Yeah,
the subscription box.
Yeah.
We used to call it Monster Bass. We branded to that, but we don't deal with Monster Bass no more. So we've changed it to the Heat Your Meat hot seat, which I think sounds better.
That's way better.
You know what I mean? And so we use this show to highlight everyday people, right? How do you make these everyday anglers feel like the pros they watch, but we're doing it grassroots. And so I don't really consider this a podcast. It's just a show. We do it. I'm just trying to keep it, more routine. But sometimes I got to think of topics, right? Like, hey, who am I bringing on? Like last week we did a lady anglers. How do we get lady slayers involved in the industry? Whatever. We did that. We talked.
Who'd you have on?
Oh, well, we had on, she's a friend of mine, Susie Roloff. She's part of the WFF, the Women's Fishing Federation. They started this 5 years ago with like Christine Fisher, getting women, and they have like a website. They do these gatherings, some tournaments. They talk about how to rig this and that. And so we had that on. We do a lot with our sponsors. We talk about our sponsors. It's a great way for us to promote them and people to find out.
What's like the tagline for that? Like their hook, their catch line.
For who?
For the WFA. What is it?
What's their WFF? What's their tagline?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a tagline. I don't know.
Well, you know how Fat Cat always says, like, get the kids off the Xbox and
in the tackle box.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to check on their website. I don't know. Taglines are important.
Kitchen and onto the water or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they had something like that.
Frank, I think you're out there. I'm not a real religious
Bring the
guy.
sandwich to the lake.
Sky.
I think Slay
nobody's
Station.
watching. There's no women watching, I should say.
I know.
Sorry. Go ahead, Kevin.
I was just gonna say, I think Frank, what you're doing on Slay Station is you're preaching the gospel, man. I'm not a religious person per se, but I think you're spreading the word. You're spreading the holy word. And you've got a bully pulpit to do it from. If I were still running those electric only tournaments in Georgia, man, I've often thought I'd try to be doing it just the way you're doing it, getting out there, sharing it, bringing people in, introducing them to the audience, and spreading the gospel. And I think that's wonderful. I think you make masterful use of your platform. It's very different than what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and I think one of the things that makes our show different than most of the podcasts out there is we're trying to bring an element of almost like showbiz and theatricality to it. You know, we got the goofy monologue, which I'm only doing because BTC and Nathan insisted that I do it.
Yeah, but it's so smart.
I'm wearing a smoking jacket.
Born for it, man.
Because Nathan and BTC insisted that I wear a smoking jacket. They even picked the color.
Yeah, that's such a good touch. Such a good touch. Telling you, fireside chats, man. That's exactly what it reminds. Like you're sitting there, Masterpiece Theater, sitting there, listening to the Duke.
I'm trying to show people that we don't take ourselves too seriously, too. You know,
absolutely.
We're having fun, and our top 10 is just kind of a having fun thing.
Oh shit!
All right, BTC. Here's the tagline.
I am in trouble.
Uh-oh.
No, casting out the impossible, reeling in potential. So Cheryl Bentley is our Lady Slayer online series director.
There you go.
She's awesome. So I guess that's her tagline: casting out the impossible, reeling in potential. That's what my wife said when she met me. She was like, casting out the impossible, reeling in potential, Bry. Right?
This now feels like a dunce helmet.
You like
a hockey helmet.
Oh, that's funny. Thank you, Cheryl, for sharing that.
Yes.
Because I know we're all sitting here.
Thanks for watching, Cheryl.
I'll give you Brian's address later. So, you know.
Damn it.
So I love it, right? So obviously the podcast is awesome, right? Straight up, it's awesome.
You're kind.
And so we're going to continue supporting it, and we're going to push all our Slayers to go watch it because I think the one thing is you're going to learn from it, right? You're going to have a good time, but you're also going to learn, and that's important. There's education to it, right? I mean, there just is, one way or another, which I love. And so I want to share something with y'all, right? So I'll pop this up here real quick. It's an announcement we're doing tonight. So Slay Nation's going to be at the Connecticut Fishing and Outdoor. So this will be our second year. But the really cool thing, right? I had a great meeting with one of the show owners and stuff, and my buddy Paul Narducci and Al Gags. He does saltwater lures. If anybody's ever heard of him, he's just got inducted. Slay Nation was asked to present a kids casting corner. So we're going to be offering one of the first kids casting corners over here in the Northeast at these expos, from toddlers to teens. You're going to stop by, right? We're going to have magnetic fishing for toddlers. There's going to be a trout pond there, right, being ran. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff, flipping and pitching area, speed reeling competition for kids, right? They're going to win prize packs. And something really cool, the Ike Foundation is also a part of it. Reached out to the Ike Foundation, right? Thank you to Becky, Ike, and Kate Flood, because that's who I usually talk to is Kate. And they donated, we got 40 tackle boxes, Flambeau tackle boxes ready to go. And these kiddos are going to have a chance to win one every 2 hours. We're going to raffle off 5. They have to complete a passport, which means they got to visit a series of booths in the expo, get it signed by someone working it, come back, and they get in a raffle. And if you look in the middle of our graphic here, it says meet Frankie the Fish. So at this casino, you might spot a green fish with a gorgeous beard and a biggest schnoz you've seen in the Northeast. So stop on by, come take a pic. We're going to be there. And what's really cool, this banner is going to be hanging up behind the kids casting area. If you take a look at this, anybody watching, 1994, All right, Ken and Bri, you can't answer this. 1994. This is for our audience. 1994 Bassmaster Classic champion. Oh, never mind. What am I even saying? His name's friggin' on the banner. I'm an idiot. I'm not even drinking. This is, by the way, someone thought I was drinking like seltzers, alcoholic seltzers. I'm not. I got basketball at it tonight and tomorrow morning. I'm drinking lemonade from McDonald's. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I didn't even realize the name was on there.
We can turn that into a trivia question, Frank. How tough do you want your trivia question to be?
All right, Ken, I'm giving it to you. Make it medium level, medium tier.
Medium tier. Okay. Brian Kirchhoff won the 94 Classic as Frank was saying. It was on High Rock Lake in North Carolina. That tournament was in July. What was Kirchhoff's job? What was he doing for a living when he won that tournament?
I know this one, but I'm not going to answer yet.
That's a medium level one.
And how about what bait did he win it on?
We can go. What bait did he win it on? If you want to go there,
that's a good one.
That's not a bad one at all.
Everybody's answering fish whistle, but that's not the question, y'all. Although I do got one right here. Anybody?
There you go.
There it is.
DVD.
A lot of people think Kirchhoff was the youngest Classic champ. He was not.
We got an answer for the bait. Jack Tibbins.
Correct
no,
answer?
not exactly. Well, that was the color.
Yep.
That's the color. That's not the brand.
Yeah, that's the color. We need the brand as well. And
if you want to go really advanced, how did he get on the pattern?
And was this his job? Matt Roche. Is this his job?
No.
All right. After everybody answers, I'm going to guess on the job after. See if I got it right. It might be a job he had prior, but we'll see. So we don't have any much answers coming in because everybody's Googling right now. What bait?
We can get really in the weeds.
Hold on a
if
second.
You want to, Frank. Go ahead.
So Joe McGinnity.
He was cooked.
There we go.
There you go.
All right. So this is my college buddy from Narragansett, Rhode Island.
Oh, I got
Joey, you don't even fish, so I know you Googled this answer. I know you Googled this. But Joe, what restaurant was he a cook at?
There you go. And I believe I know the name of the restaurant, Frank. Is it still in business?
No.
Okay.
Those aren't around. And
those aren't around. No pun intended. No clue intended.
That's a good one.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Peanuts.
We could also ask what happened to Brian Kirchhoff 5 months after he won the Classic.
James Johnstone.
Culprit worm. James Johnstone nailed it. It was a red shad culprit worm.
All right, so McGinnity looked it up.
In practice, Kirchhoff was fishing along and kind of struggling, and he found a red shad culprit worm floating along, and he picked it up, threaded it on a hook, started throwing it around some boat docks, catching fish. That's what he won the Derby on.
That's right. Do you know what lake his ashes are spread in?
Oh, I do not.
It's one of my favorite spots, but they killed all the friggin' weeds, so now it's not my favorite spots. It's in Newtown. Actually, maybe I shouldn't give this one away. Maybe I shouldn't give this one away.
Might not be able to handle that kind of pressure.
Oh, no. Well, I know there's a lot of Connecticut guys in here listening. I know. Yeah.
The burn is real, Frank.
I'll save that one for later, y'all.
The burn
Come to a Slay Nation event.
Do you want a really tough trivia question just to throw it out there? Because I think it's a really cool one.
Throw it out there.
All right. Kirchhoff had appeared at a Wrangler function in and he had, because he was on the Wrangler Angler Pro staff in '94, and he was deathly afraid of flying, ironically. And so anyway, he wasn't the guy who was originally supposed to go to that Wrangler Angler function, but he goes to the Wrangler Angler function, and he's trying to fly home, and he's on a commuter plane, and the plane goes down, and it kills almost everybody on board. I think there were a couple of survivors, but he wasn't the pro staff angler who was supposed to be at the event.
Oh.
A different pro staff angler, a very famous angler, was supposed to be on that plane.
Oh my God.
Who was it?
Imagine, first of all, can you imagine that?
It's
You
crazy, isn't
didn't.
it?
You were supposed to be on that plane, but you ended up not going for whatever reason.
Yeah.
This guy had a scheduling conflict, so he couldn't make it. He said, "I'm sorry, I can't make it." So they reached out to Brian Kirchhoff, who obviously
Just
was
won.
a big name
Right.
because he'd won the Classic 5 months earlier. And so this guy, got an
Wow.
amazing break.
Wow.
Now,
This
if
is
your
a great
audience knows
question.
this, if your audience knows this, I'm going to be enormously impressed.
Brian, do
That's
you
a
know the
pretty tough
answer
one.
To
to the question? Who the angler was that did not go?
oh
that
yeah,
Brian?
yeah.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah. I'm no Ken Duke. We have hours long conversations.
We have
I don't see any answers coming in here unless people are on their phones looking it up. But
Frank, you tell us when you need the answer. You just tell us when you're
just
ready.
give it.
Gary Klein
Oh,
was
get out of
supposed to
here!
be at that event,
Oh my God!
and Gary couldn't make it. And I only know that because Gary told me a few years ago, and that just really sticks with me. How different everything would be if Gary Klein had been on that plane
Imagine that.
instead of
Holy
Brian
crap!
Kirchhoff.
That's
Yeah.
like goosebumpy stuff now.
Isn't it?
That's oh wow, go figure. So whatever came up for Gary saved his life,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
who knows?
Because he was
Oh
also on
my
that
God.
Wrangler pro staff.
That is crazy. But so this is the only banner made of this from
Wow.
Bassmaster. And so my buddy Paul Narducci, so he's been in contact with Ray Kirchhoff, right? Brian's dad, who I spoke with too in the past. Paul talks to him 2 or 3 times a year. And we were talking about the expo for the kids thing because this is dedicated to youth fishing, and this was Brian's memorial fund. And he was like, "Hey, it's just collecting dust down here. You guys are more than welcome to have it. And every year that we do the Slay Nation Kids Casting Corner, this is going to be hung up. So if you're coming to Mohegan Sun Show, you get a chance to take a picture next to history right here. And if you're from Connecticut, this is your guy."
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just wanted to share that. I thought you guys would appreciate that. That was something that came in today. So
That's amazing.
really
That's
cool.
a piece of history right there.
100%. So, all right. Well, I don't want to keep y'all too long. We're at an hour and a half. I have a question. So we do, or this year we're doing a monthly bait giveaway for our premium Slay Nation members. Do you want to stay on here real quick and we draw the winner? I got a random selector ready to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Let's do it.
Hey,
All right.
so it.
Hey, let's do it, Shane. By the way, I had so Ken, my full-time, I'm a gym teacher, right? I'm a phys ed teacher.
Yeah.
And I teach preschool to 8th grade. And today, one of my 5th grade students, right, we're in class, and I had him for basketball practice. I coach the sports teams, and so we're doing a drill. And she took off. She had a hoodie on. She takes her hoodie off, and she had a t-shirt on underneath. And it's a Scarface. It's a picture of Tony Montana, and it's Scarface t-shirt. And I'm like, I didn't say anything. So she's practicing her shooting and dribbling. I go, I'm just like, "Hey, let me tell you something, man. They call me Tony Montana, and you want to say hello to my little friend?" And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's a t-shirt you're wearing." She's like, "What are you talking about?" "It's Scarface. It's a movie." I'm like, she's 5th grade. She has no idea what she's wearing. And I'm just like,
Oh my word.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was like, parents just let her wear a drug lord t-shirt to school. Who cares? Great movie. It's a great movie, but whatever.
Her parents might be too young to really know that movie. That's
maybe
scary to think of.
Maybe. I don't know. I've met the parents before. I don't think they're older than me. I'm 42. But anyway, let's draw our premium member. This is for January, by the way. We ran late on this. And it is a Berkeley power bait. It's the Cole Shad. This is the 8-incher, right?
Nice prize.
It is a great prize. So let's see who wins this sucker. By the way, last week we did an early bird registration raffle prize for anybody that registered by January 15th, and they won a whole awesome bunch of products. And BTC, a New Jersey Slayer won the package.
Damn right.
Rory Morris. I don't know if you know who that is, but his name's Rory.
Did he win or did he strong arm you? And
No, he didn't. Although I'll show the picture. He looks like he could probably snap a few limbs on somebody.
Oh yeah.
He's got a big striped bass in the background, on the wall replica. He won a bunch of good stuff. I'll put it that way. So let's screen share right here, and then I'll let you
Let's
two
do
gents
that.
get to bed.
I'll take my helmet off and go to bed.
Take the helmet off and go to bed, baby. All right. Hey, don't mind. Hey, don't mind. Hey, look at all the emails. Hey.
Cut it out.
Here we go. All right. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go, folks. Now we got whatever, not as many as I want yet, but we have 56 names here. All right. And we're going to turn and see who our winner is on the random selector live on Slay Station with Sir Ken Duke and the Wonder Boy, BTC.
The Wonder Boy. I like it.
Who's our winner? Who's it going to be? Oh, my God. Wait a second. Chris Dannenfelser. Get out of here. Dude, that's one of my cats. Chris
the winner?
D. All right. Congratulations, Chris D. I know you're probably not watching. You're probably I don't
How
know,
dare you
at a
not
hockey
watch?
game. Yeah,
Can
that's
you-
a hockey.
can you-
Actually, that's a hockey guy, BTC. Chris D is a hockey dude.
Can you win without watching?
Yes, you can.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you
Even
can.
when BTC and I are on, you can win without watching. That's totally wrong.
I know. Maybe he is on. Sometimes he is on, but I don't see him in the comments. So Chris D, congratulations. I'll probably just drop it off at your house. Or Chris D, right? The January winner. Awesome. Thanks for letting us do that with you guys on here. So Ken and Bri, appreciate you hopping on Friday night. It's late. Really, I know you're busy. I know you got things to do. And I really appreciate you hopping on. I was really excited to have you both on. BTC, thanks for being available and reaching out to Ken and saying, hey, right. Frankie, some schmuck in Connecticut wants us on the TV show. So I appreciate you guys. And before we send you off, just tell the audience where they can follow you. If you have anybody you want to thank, where can they go watch Bass After Dark? And we'll close it out.
Bass After Dark, Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Bass After Dark Show YouTube channel. You can follow us, Bass After Dark, on Facebook and Instagram. And, Ken wears his blue suit every week. I don't wear the helmet, but I figured I would try it out here tonight, see how it went. Oh, man, Frankie's freaked out by it.
Please, dude.
I had to try it out.
Frank insisted I wear this. I was going to go much more normal, but Frank insisted.
It's Ken. It's branding, right? That's a staple of the show right there.
I do whatever
Yes,
Frank
it is.
says.
In that chair with that lamp and those books. That's it.
Yeah.
We're just missing a pipe. We got to get you a fake pipe or something.
This is what I
I
wear
was
on
gonna
Friday
get
nights in the garage. So
I was going to get a pipe, but it would blow bubbles. That was my plan
Hey,
originally.
listen, don't say that on air. Don't tell people you blew bubbles as a kid. They're going to say, where is he now? I was kidding. That's that old joke.
Finally, we're getting loose.
Right? We're getting loose, baby. I know. All right. Well, listen, thank you both so much. Right? Love you both.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Frank.
it. Wish you all the
Appreciate
best.
you.
And keep doing it. And I'll holler. What BTC? You got another hat? What do you got?
This is the awkward part where he
taking the helmet
undresses
off.
before the show's over.
All right. Look at that. He showed us. I don't think I ever seen BTC without a hat on.
Some
There it
hair,
is.
not as much.
You
as
got
I
more
used
hair
to.
than me. I'm looking like Ken.
Oh, Frankie!
I'm looking like Kenny.
Yeah, I got nothing here. I'm so bald. This is a toupee. Okay, that's how bald I am. Sad.
Oh, that's funny. All right, gents. Well, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. And I can't wait to see the show. You haven't announced what next week's show is yet, right?
We're still battling over that one. Frank.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Well, look forward to it.
Frank, thanks,
All right.
man. It's good to
Anytime.
Really
talk
appreciate you. To everybody in Slay Nation out there, go catch some for me.
Hell yeah,
Yep.
We got it. We
Keep
got you.
slaying, Slayers.
The Slayers. That's right. All right, BTC, Ken Duke. Have a great one. All right, folks. There you go. Thanks for tuning in. I was really looking forward to that episode, right? Two great gents, and just in general, not even just the industry, just in general, right? Go check them out. Go check out the podcast. I guarantee you're going to learn something. Go back, watch the replays. There's 12 episodes to go check out. You will learn. Get your notepad ready. Guarantee it. Most of you are heading into tournament season any second now. Jack Tibbins preparing for Murray. Good luck, brother. Safe travels and go slay it, dog. And appreciate all you guys tuning in. I saw lots of Connecticut Slayer, lots of Slayers in general, right? Tuning in tonight. Appreciate the love. And as always, we're going to take you out. Peace, love, and together we slay. Ciao, y'all.